Calvin, welcome to Football Fun Factory HQ today. Absolute pleasure having you here for the onboarding day for the launch of your Football Fun Factory franchise. Great to sit down and have a bit of a chat. Tell me about your passion for football and where that came from.
Passion for football came from a young age, playing at my primary school, Bully family in Moss End, the same primary school that the late great Billy McNeil, who really? Celtic captain and manager, lifted to the first British team to lift the European Cup. That was the school I went to as well. So started then. My dad used to take me to Celtic games. Kind of distant memory of my dad taking me games. I can remember my dad taking me to Tommy Burns' testimonial. I always remember that. It was before Celtic was redeveloped to the stadium it is now, and the old jungle. And I just remember Tommy Burns throwing his boots. It was his last game for Celtic. I remember him throwing his boots into the crowd. So I can remember that. And then obviously playing football.
Ah, fantastic. Precious memories. What were them? Have you still got memories of them, of those days, of sort of them real early experiences playing the game?
In primary 7, we got to 7 cup finals. And against the same team, Sacred Heart, but we lost every final.
Oh really? The memories.
So that's good and bad. It was good to get to 7 finals, but to lose every one to the same team. So it was hard going to high school and meeting these guys. And,
I can imagine.
Classmates, we're getting it tight off them.
And I know you're a massive Celtic fan. Was it them early days that really made you fall in love with the club and in football in general, going to watch live games?
No, definitely. It wasn't for my dad. My dad was big Celtic fan, used to go to the games. He went to the European Cup final. He was there when Billy lifted the trophy, so it kind of passed on from generation to generation, father to son, isn't it? So
quality. And then you say you really enjoyed your football going into your teenage years. Really good player, captain of the team. Went to university. Was it a case of other things becoming more important when you went to university and stepping away? Obviously, it's a young man growing up, and did that become a barrier to your playing the game of football?
Yeah, probably like most people or most guys. When you hit 18, you're legal to go to the pubs, have a drink, and I wanted to further my education. But in hindsight, I think that, that's probably one of the biggest regrets. I wish I'd have stuck in. I was still young, and that was me at the peak of my powers. I think at that point, I didn't have the guidance and perhaps the drive to maybe pursue the football career, which I kind of regret now, but I wish I had stuck in. I was still young enough.
So obviously that passion for football has always been there. When did the coaching start?
Since having my son, he started the kind of TOTS classes in the local council. Took him for he was 18 months, and he's been to other kids classes until the last couple of years. Took up the role as head coach for his grassroots team, local team Bellshill Athletics. So
and is that something that you immediately wanted to do, or was it always something that you wanted to coach your little boys' team?
Yeah, I always wanted to be the head coach. I always wanted to have a say in matters. So then I kind of approached the person that runs the academy and got on board, and also went through the process, your disclosure and things like that. So no, I was delighted to be accepted, and I've been doing that the last 2 years. It's been very fulfilling, and to see the progression for all the boys and girl. We've got a girl in our team for when they started 2 years ago and how they've come on. It's a joy to watch.
No, brilliant. It's fantastic to see that development, both from a football perspective, but growing up as sort of human qualities as well. What you see from children is so vast. I was coached my son when he was 6 years old, sort of as an assistant coach within his grassroots club. I was still a professional player, and I struggled a little bit with that in terms of, I think I was a little bit harder on him than I was the other kids, because of how I would be perceived potentially by the other coaches, the other parents. Is that something that you've had to think about in coaching your little lads?
Coaching your own son, absolutely. Like you can't show favouritism, and I think it's quite. And I have seen it with other coaches with their sons or daughters. They show favouritism, and I doesn't sit comfortably. If anything, I'm more hard on my son. He might be player of the session, but I'll give it to someone else who I think maybe it might help their confidence or. And build them up. I won't always be the best player on that particular day. If I see someone doing something positive or good on the day, that could be enough to get them to the session. But I'm not a believer of the same person getting that award. You need to spread the love.
Without a doubt. And I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? That sort of equal attention. I know your little lad's a really good, highly gifted player, but to make sure that everyone's having a fantastic experiences. I know that's so important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about equal opportunities and giving all the kids, you know, similar game time, best you can, the same kind of a game time. But I have heard horror stories where kids, you know, because of their abilities, maybe don't get as much game time and things like that, and that's another reason why the Football Fun Factory appeals to me.
Where did you first hear about it? Obviously, we've been on a journey now. You're close to launching your first sessions, but where did it first all come about?
I think with Facebook, Instagram and that, if you're following a lot of football pages, then you know, the algorithm must work its magic.
You can't get away from it. You can't get away
works its magic, and then you start seeing adverts for Football Fun Factory, and that's all I've ever seen now.
Yeah, you can't.
Is your face, Johnny's and Matt?
Yeah, apologies about
James's,
that.
Sorry.
No one deserves that every day. But then you saw the advert, and did that immediately spark an interest?
Absolutely, it resonated with me, just the fact of being your own boss, running your own business, and something I love, which is football. I've always loved football. Maybe 20 years ago this opportunity wouldn't have came about, but the message it can spread across the country, and that's how it's all came to light. And you know, loving what I do, it's a great opportunity to be able to coach at that level and hopefully bring lots of smiles and faces.
So obviously getting close now to the launch of your first sessions, can you tell us a little bit more about your community and what the children and families of your neck of the woods are going to have to look forward to really soon?
My community is going to entail Motherwell and my hometown Bellshill, so football fun and development classes in Motherwell and Bellshill, as well as the Tots football fun. That will also be in Motherwell, so can't wait to get started buzzing.
And that's a community that obviously you've got a lot of affection to. Is that where you grew up as a child?
Bellshill is my hometown and where I'm born and bred, as they say. So, and Motherwell is where my fiancée, my missus is from, so she's got a lot of friends and family in that area as well.
Fantastic, that's absolutely brilliant, Calvin. Great to talk to you today.